Hello everyone, welcome back to the forge. Now today we're going to start work on this chopper right here, and we're going to be forging it out of this big old chunk of rebar my brother brought me. So let's get the forge lit and get it at the temperature, and let's get to work, see what we end up with. Alright, now that we've got the rebar in the forge, I'm going to talk about this design a little bit. I'm going to be going with an 11 3/4 inch blade with a faux harpoon point on top. It's going to have a little bit of a belly, a little bit of recurve action going on there. I'm going to forge in a integral guard here. We're going to go with G10 for the handle scale material, black G10, and we're going to go with a lanyard hole here at the end of the handle. The overall length of this should end up being in the ballpark of 17.5 inches or so. A lot of people ask why rebar. Well, like I said, my brother gave it to me. Not all rebar is equal. That's why there's different grades of rebar. The common misconception is rebar is just a bunch of melted together junk. There's different types of rebar. Get on Google and look it up. It's graded differently. This is a grade 60 rebar, the same kind of rebar I use on the Katana build. According to the specs on that steel, it was in the ballpark of, it's classified as a rail steel, in the ballpark of a 1060. So, not the greatest steel in the world, but not terrible. Ought to make a pretty good beater knife for me to use around, just play around with. Plus, I get to practice. Rebar's a great thing to practice with. With that being said, I'm fixing to fire up the press. That ought to be about the temperature, and then we'll get to flattening this out, get to working on it. Now after all of that, we broke that down into a bar that's a little easier to handle than that big old piece of steel. So I'm going to let this cool down, and then we can get on forging this blade out. everybody, this is where we're at so far. We've got our rough forging, our rough profile forged in. Good stopping point for today. The next video we'll get all this cleaned up. We got a little bit of critiquing to do on some of our lines. Clean our bevels up some. I'll do all that before the next video. And then in the next video we'll get to grinding this profile clean. Get our handle pin holes drilled in. We'll get this sucker heat treated and put the G10 handle scales on. Get them textured and should be able to get it all wrapped up and chop some stuff with it. Hello everyone, welcome back to the forge. Now our last episode we forged out this chopper from a piece of rebar, and today we're going to get this sucker cleaned up and get it wrapped up. So let's get in there on the grinder, get the profile cleaned up, get some bevels roughed in so we can get it heat treated. Alright, let's get at it. Alright, I got our profile all ground out. I got our profile all ground out here, cleaned up and everything. I forged it pretty close to the finished outline. Saves a lot of grinding that way. Thinking of doing a fuller in here on each side. I'm thinking I'm going to do it about the size of this one right here. And so I'm going to go ahead and get this laid out on there. I'm just going to do it with this Sharpie by hand, and then we'll get to grinding it in. One thing I get asked a lot of questions about is about how I grind these fullers in, because I freehand them. I don't use, a setup or a jig sometimes, but not all the time. What I normally do on a knife like this is I'll go to my small wheel attachment, usually with a smaller wheel than this, and I will turn it down real slow, and I will just, I'll sketch out where I want to be at, but I will just go across and just cut a groove in. I mean, you can do the same thing with more than likely like a Dremel tool or something if you don't have a small wheel attachment for your grinder. But I finished this fuller, as you see in the video, on the 2-inch wheel on my flat platen, and all I want is a channel in this knife here for that wheel to rest in. And so if I come in here on my small wheel attachment and I cut the initial channel where I want the fuller, then I can move down to the 2-inch wheel and begin working slowly, and it'll ride along in that channel a whole lot better than if there wasn't one there. So that's what I do. It works for me. You may have other ways of doing it, other ideas, and they may work great too. But whatever gets the job done, trial and error. Little tip though. Alright, I got our fuller ground in here. Originally I was only going to grind it to right here, but as I looked at it more, it got to where it didn't look really that great, even with the bevels and everything ground in. So I decided to go ahead and extend it on out to the point here. I think it turned out nice. Now I'm going to go ahead and draw out the markings here for our handle pins, get them drilled, and then I'm going to go ahead and heat treat this. With it being rebar, it's not going to get as hard as like a 1095 or a 5160, so I'm not going to worry about doing any bevel work till after the heat treat. Then I'll come in and I will grind them in, and we'll grind them up as close as we can get them to this fuller line, and we'll grind our harpoon point in and then get our handle straightened out, and we should be getting close to being finished. So let's get on it. Alright, we're getting close to time to quench. Just quenching this in water for maximum hardness. It's rebar. The leaves and trash is optional in your water. It's not going to help anything. So anyway, all kidding aside, let's get this sucker heated up and get it hardened. Alright, we got our handle scales cut out, got our pins ready. Now it's time to get this sucker glued up and get it finished up. Let's get on it. Alrighty, there she is all finished up. Turned out pretty good for a piece of old scrap rebar. I appreciate you for watching this video. If you would, hit that subscribe button down below. Ring the notification bell to be notified when newest content as it posts. Go out to your workshop, give it a try. Like I said, I appreciate you watching. I'll catch you on the next one. Everybody have a good one. Bye-bye.